Israel and Lacedaemon, which commonwealths, as the people of this, in Josephus, claims kindred of that, have great resemblance, were each of them equal in their agrarian and unequal in their rotation, especially Israel, where the Sanhedrin, or Senate, first elected by the people, as appeareth by the words of Moses, took upon them thenceforth, without any precept of God, to substitute their successors by ordination, which having been there of civil use, as excommunication, community of goods, and other customs of the Essenes, who were many of them converted, came afterwards to be introduced into the Christian church. And the election of the judge, suffis, or dictator, was irregular, both for the occasion, the term, and the vacation of that magistracy, as you find in the book of Judges, where it is often repeated that in those days there was no king in Israel, that is, no judge, and in the first of Samuel, where Eli judged Israel 40 years, and Samuel all his life. In Lacedaemon, the election of the Senate being by suffrage of the people, though for life, was not altogether so unequal, but the hereditary right of kings, but for the agrarian, had ruined her. Athens and Rome were unequal as to their agrarian, that of Athens being infirm, and that of Rome none at all. For if it were more anciently carried, it was never kept. Whence, by the time of Tiberius Gracchus, the nobility had almost eaten the people quite out of their lands, which they held in the occupation of tenants and servants, whereupon the remedy being too late and too vehemently applied, that commonwealth was ruined. These also were unequal in their rotation, but in a contrary manner. Athens, in regard that the Senate, chosen at once by lot, not by suffrage, and changed every year, not in part, but the whole, consisted not of the natural aristocracy, nor sitting long enough to understand or be perfect in their office, had sufficient authority to withhold the people from that perpetual turbulence in the way which was ruin in the end, in despite of Nicias, who did what a man could do to help it. But as Athens, by the headiness of the people, so Rome fell by the ambition of the nobility, through the want of an equal rotation, which, if the people had had into the Senate, and timely into the magistracies, whereof the former was always usurped by the partisans, and the latter, for the most part, they had both carried and held their agrarian, and that had rendered that commonwealth immovable. But let a commonwealth be equal or unequal, it must consist, as hath been shown by reason and all experience, of the three general orders, that is to say, of the Senate debating and proposing, of the people resolving, and the magistracy executing. Wherefore, I can never wonder enough at Leviathan, who without any reason or example will have it that a commonwealth consisteth of a single person or a single assembly, nor sufficiently pity that 1,000 gentlemen whose minds, which otherwise would have wavered, he hath framed, as is affirmed by himself, unto a conscientious obedience, for so he is pleased to call it, of such a government.